It's rolling. All right, I want to talk about 3 different projects for the next probably just boom, 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 1, 2, 3 episodes. All right, because I kind of feel like I need to catch some people up on some things, and then also I think you're listening right now. There's probably something that I or my wife can help you with through one of these 3 projects. So I want to kind of lay them out there, and that will set the stage for stuff we're going to talk about later on. Make sense there, John?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let me tell you about this one that we've got going on. This is Amplify. And that's all I'm going to talk about today. Amplify is it's really a business that helps you platform your message, get paid for what you know. So there are a lot of people out there, think about it like this, that have an idea in their head and they wonder, how do you get the ideas out of your head into the format to where they look like a book? And they have the table of contents, and they have the headers, and they have the footers, page numbers, all of that. And it's like people can actually go buy your book on a website or on a shelf, or you have other people that think, man, I've really got this expertise in a specific area where I learned something like a skill, or I learned something by going through a trial or another experience, and I would love to impart that wisdom to other people, but I'm not sure how do I put it in a course where people can go access it online. They can watch my videos, they can give you some money, and then you can lead them forward to next steps. Or, man, you guys have done some of this. You have people that want to do a podcast, like we're doing right now. Like,
right.
How do you set all that stuff up? Or they want to do live events and teach workshops and relay to other people something that they've learned that will benefit other people. But how do you even do that, and where do you get started? So that's what Amplify does. And we kind of stumbled into it. I'm going to tell you how we stumbled into it, and then tell you ways it can help some people, because every single place that I go where I'm speaking, or even if we're just there attending, people will always end up asking, hey, I heard that you could possibly help me in this way, or you could point me in the right direction. Whether it's a professional type help where they engage our services, or whether it's just give me some information to where I know where to go so I can do it on my own type thing. So I thought, man, if I say that one time right here on this podcast episode, I can just send people the link to it, and then they don't have to ask all the questions about how'd you get into this, or what's going on, or how can it help me, or how can it serve me at a higher level.
You can move to the next step in the conversation.
Yeah, I can just, hey, listen to this and then let's talk, that kind of thing. All right, so here it is. I'm going to go back, say, like 3 years, and there were, I think, 3 different projects that all just kind of accidentally converged at the same time. So I'm going to tell you what they are, and then I'm going to explain them. Number 1, there was an organization that coaches ministry and marketplace leaders that I was doing some work for. Number 2, there was a local 501c3 ministry that I was doing some work for. Number 3, I met with a pastor that I had worked for previously and done some consulting for, and he needed a project done that I didn't even know about when I sat down to meet him at lunch. In fact, I was meeting with him to talk about one of my books, and then he ended up learning about it. He's like, oh, by the way, like I've got something I might need your help on. And so all of those really kind of converged to create something that did not exist. And the thing it created was Amplify. All right, so let me just tell you real quick, those 1, 2, 3. First of all, the coaching organization. So I know a guy that he years ago started in his living room a church that ended up becoming, here's the word they use now, mega church. So like if it has 1,000 or more, like they call that mega. I've even heard some people saying like if it's 10K or more, it's giga. I don't know that I hope that doesn't come into popular usage, because it kind of gets beyond the fact. I mean, how many did Jesus have? 500 saw him at the ascension,
Right.
right? And I mean, below that, there were 120 in the upper room in the book of Acts at the prayer meeting when the Pentecost Holy Spirit fell. He had 70 that were disciples that he sent out with the same empowerment as the 12. That's in Luke 10 and Luke 9. And then below the 12, he even had the 3, Peter, James, and John. So at some point, I'm not anti-massive church or big movement, but at some point, are we really doing life-on-life discipleship and transformation, or are we just packing people in the room? I don't know. That's just a question. It's not the topic of this conversation, but this guy had effectively led a church, started it very young. When he first started it in his living room, he tells the story, first day, nobody showed up. I mean, they invited people and everybody confirmed they're coming, and nobody came.
That hurts a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, when he tells the story, and he said it on video before, he says, that night I laid in the bed. I think he was in his late 20s at the time. It's like I cried. Like I thought we moved from our hometown to another city. God led us to do this. And then crickets. Well, he continued. He persisted. And, the church grew. It started doing some conferences and workshops, and he had the opportunity to coach other pastors and ministry leaders and business leaders that were attending the church, and that led to coaching some of the people that were outside of his church, and eventually he handed that church off successfully to another leader. There was no scandal or anything involved. It was just, hey, I feel like you're probably called to take this on, and I'm called to do something else. And so they made a very successful handoff, and he created an organization that coaches ministry and marketplace leaders. So several years ago, 2021, he reached out, shot a text message, hey, I need somebody that can help me do the digital footprint of what was at that time a growing organization. It still is a growing organization. And so we dialogued a little bit about it. I told him kind of what I would do. And so end of 2021, all through 2022, helped him do that. So if there was a podcast that got posted, I did it. If there's a web page or a landing page or an event page or an email sequence or any kind of funnel that was happening, we did that. Our organization was contracted to do all of that. They wrote a book during that time, launched the book. And so it really gave me the opportunity. In fact, we were at a conference that I got to attend with that team, again, kind of as the contract employee. And one of the things that I saw was like, man, with everything that's going on and some of the doors that they're walking through, I realize I've really been thinking too small on this. And it was really working with them that showed me the need for, at a higher level, probably having some processes and systems in place that you could replicate, if that makes sense, to where, you're not having to create all this from scratch. You're not having to think about, how does somebody else do this if I'm not here to do this, or I'm just working on something else? Like, to grow it, you eventually have to hand off some of the jobs that you were doing early on. So we really, that kind of evolved over that year into what converged with these next 2 points to become Amplify. All right, so the second project that was going on. When I was out of town at that conference that I just mentioned, the one where I thought, oh man, I'm thinking too small, I remember sending out an email, just a blast to everybody on my email list. And that wouldn't have been odd. I do that. I mean, I have a daily email. It's a daily devotion that goes out at 5 a.m. So that wouldn't have been odd. This one was a podcast episode. Again, that wouldn't have been odd. Like I'm gonna email this one out. So it wouldn't have been odd. What was unique is another guy received it. The topic of it was post-traumatic stress, particularly as it relates to military and a project that I was working on at the time that I'll talk about in 2 more episodes. Because you remember, I got this project's Amplify, the next one's going to be Life Lift, the next one's going to be GY6. So just kind of tuck that. So he emails back and he just replies back to the email that I sent, mass email. Hey, can we get together and talk? I thought, yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. And so what he was doing with his organization, it was a nonprofit, he was about to launch a book, and they had created a video course to go with that book. Primarily what they were driving was not the book or the course, it was small groups. So they're wanting people to be in connection and community, not giga communities or mega communities, but let's just call them maybe deca, like 10 people or less.
10, yeah.
Yeah, like 10 or less, small group. And so that curriculum that he had produced was going to help facilitate, like it was going to be the curriculum that people were going to meet and center their conversation around. Okay, here's the problem. When you have curriculum on video, shooting video is very easy now. I mean, you get out your iPhone, it'll shoot 4K.
Mm-hmm.
That's way better than Star Wars and Superman and all the movies I watched when I was a kid. I mean, what were they? They might have been, I don't even think they were K.
Probably
were,
not. Yeah.
They were like 720 or 640 or something. That's why they're really fuzzy and they had to remaster them and all of that. His question is, I've got these videos, I've got this book. What do I do now? How do I deliver it to people in such a way that they can go online, they can buy it, and then it does something in the digital space that lets us know, oh, ship this to that person. And then also they get access to the videos. At that point, I remember sitting at a restaurant with him, and I said, now, how are you going to do this? And he said, well, when somebody buys it, we're going to give them access to the videos for a year. I was like, well, that's generous. I would just give it to them for all time. Like, you buy it, like I would just say, hey, take it. But if you give it access to a year, how are you going to cut it off at the end of a year? He's like, well, at the end of the year, we'll just change the password. I was like, well, how are you going to do that if I buy it today and then somebody else buys it next month, and then somebody else buys it 2 days later, and then somebody else buys it 3 weeks after that? Oh, yeah, and there were people that bought it before me. Like, you going to change the password every day and let everybody know, or are you just going to create like a Netflix-type paywall? Because there's software that'll do that instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's just one click and it does it. He's like, oh, man, I don't know.
Didn't think about that one.
We hadn't thought.
Yeah.
And there's no reason as a content creator or communicator you would necessarily know how to do that any more than I know how to press the buttons on that whatever you got going over there on the board.
It's a broadcast console.
Yeah.
It's a board. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the easy way to say it.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it. So you're listening while you're driving, running, doing the dishes. It looks like a soundboard, like I mean, it's impressive. It's not as impressive as the one I saw in the Bon Jovi documentary.
The 96 channel one?
Yeah, I mean, I think they had two 96s,
oh my
maybe.
Gosh.
But what do we got like there, 16?
It's like 16,
something?
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't know how to do that.
I don't even need that many.
So it would make sense. This guy wouldn't know how to do all the other.
It's not his lane.
Yeah, it's not the lane. And for most people, it's not. The good news is, right now, if you've got a message that you want to share with other people, it's never been easier than it is now. And in fact, it's probably a little bit too easy because you got a lot of people that are slinging ideas out there.
It's a lot of congestion.
That they don't need to be slinging their ideas out there. The idea is not developed yet, or the idea could just be stupid, or it's contentious, or it's just not. I mean, like Philippians 4:8, whatever's pure, noble, of good report, honorable, think on these things, presumably, and multiply these things, not just the latest nonsense and garbage.
But we feel like we're in a race. We've got to compete against the world. We got to get as much stuff out there as possible, Andy.
Yeah, everybody's like content. Yeah, wait,
to an extent.
Yeah, and
it's
really,
got to be done with excellence, man.
Yeah, and it's got to be deep and meaningful and all of that. And I get that. I mean, that's one of the tensions. All right, so we helped this guy get his stuff in place. fix the book, fix the other stuff. In fact, you know what? I'm going to put a link down in the show notes. So if you're listening right now and you're going, all right, something about that guy having an idea but not knowing what to do resonates. So I was leaving the restaurant, and we swapped ideas. I mean, literally on a back of a napkin right there, just kind of sketching out stuff. And I handed him the napkin, and he was like, "If you've seen my writing, there's no way you could read that. Sometimes I can't read my own writing." And I told him, I said, "You know what? I will email all of this to you, so that you'll know step by step by step by step by step by step." And there were about 10 or 11 steps. Some of them were optional, but this is what I would do. How to start from scratch. And then I turned it into a video. So if you're out there and you're listening and you go, "Oh, all right, I don't know what to do." Down in the show notes, there's a couple links. One of the links is how to start from scratch, meaning you've got an idea. I can't create the idea for you. But if you've got the idea, I can definitely show you how to multiply that idea, how to monetize that idea, how to do something with it in the digital space, how to do something with it. You might want to write it into a book, how to do it in multiple ways that can be free and or generate revenue. So I took the email that I wrote to him, created a little, and it's free. You can just access it. It's like a free little video explainer that kind of walks you through like a webinar. That would be probably a great next step for you. If you want to go farther, there's a link down there. It's a little mini course that basically it's how to get paid for what you know. I mean, like that's the name of it. How to get paid for what you know. You've got some ideas and you're thinking, all right, how do I monetize that? How do I, and pro tip, the way to monetize it is not, for 99.99999% of us, is not to go build a YouTube channel, nor is it to grow a massive social media following. So we talk about all of that. You're down there in that mini course and in that free video explainer. You can tackle all of that. All right, so we worked for that guy for, I think that project ran probably 9 months, something like that. Got them up and going. Third project that was going on that all converged at the same time is I reached out to a pastor that I'd worked for probably 6-7 years previously, done some consulting for them, and I had just rewritten a book on spiritual gifts, on finding your purpose, on if God's gifted you supernaturally to do something, man, that's a key to how you should navigate the world. Not just navigate what you do at church on Sunday, but it would go to like your call and your vocation and even how you get paid, how you support your family, how you make an impact, all of that. So I went to really meet with him because he would understand that space, and I valued the excellence with which he had done things. And so, and I knew he would be straight up and go, this is great, or no, that's confusing, or so I went to talk with him. And we sat down in this Mexican restaurant. He's like, "Oh yeah, meet me at the local Mexican restaurant." He lives 45 minutes away. So I got there. We ended up talking when I got there, his wife was there. And she said, "Hey, I'm not stepping in on your meeting. I was hungry, and I knew he was meeting you, and I just wanted to say hello." So I said, "Well, take me to the meeting 30 minutes early and feed me, and then I'll say hello, and then I'll drive the car, and he can bring you home." So she left, and he was like, "Hey, you got to take me home, or I'm stuck here." So that's how that worked. But we talked for maybe 3 hours.
Wow.
Now, part of it was me telling him about that resource. 20, 30 minutes. Probably an hour of it was just catching up on, hey, man, what's been going on I hadn't seen him probably 3-4 years. Part of it was catching up. And then part of it was he proceeds, and this wasn't like a linear conversation. This was, we're talking kind of like you do with friends. You're just kind of all over the map, going back and forth, weaving in and out of different topics. The bulk of it was he was telling me about this process of discipleship that he had really refined over previous years, that was working, that was very relational, that was not, now this is a guy that had a megachurch, but it's not like going giga, mega. I mean, it was going small into the living rooms and into libraries and into restaurants and into other places where businesses where people already are, and interacting with them around just certain core principles that he had pulled together out of Scripture that would lead people to figure out and define what God had them here for. And then more importantly, not just what does he have me here for, but how do I walk that out practically? And so, man, this guy's an incredible communicator. You could give him a topic right now in the Bible, and he could go preach on it for 45 minutes, and it would be good. I mean, like right now, like just right this second. But he is not great at putting it into a book. You can turn on the camera, he can talk about it, but how do you? So that's where he said, "Hey, okay, I've got this piece, and this piece." An incredibly self-aware leader. He said, "But I think like if you could plug this gap and this gap and this gap, like we could get it out there and it could make an impact." So that's what we did. I mean, I walked to give him my book and walked away with basically it wouldn't be a job. It'd be kind of a contractor role that lasted for, I mean, we walked them through that process, about 18 months of, launching that book, launching and writing another book, doing some other resources, getting them platformed online to where now his assistant, she's more than an assistant. I guess it's like, what's more robust than an administrative assistant? There's got to be one up above that. I don't know, but whatever it was, like they're running all of that now, and so their team was in great shape after that I want to say exodus. That sounds negative. Just after the offboarding, I mean, after the natural course of, hey, this is what we were hired to do, and man, it was an incredible process there. So all those three projects. The coaching organization that was coaching 70, 80 ministry and marketplace leaders, high-level leaders. The 501c3 that's trying to launch a book course. How do we deliver it? The pastor, it was, man, I've got this tested discipleship method he had it in notebooks, had slides, had sermons. I mean, it was so easy to pull that resource together because he gave me what would be a ghostwriter's dream. I mean, it was like, boom, delivered. All of that converges. And I'd come off this experience right before that where I was working on a project where we had released a smartphone app. This was a different organization. We were doing a monthly content drop, kind of in the natural health and wellness space. So a video, like a membership, where people could log in and watch it. And when I was writing a book every single month based on that content. And so I'd learned there some of the systems. I had just never written them down. I mean, it was kind of like, not bull in a china shop-ish, but it was, man, all of this stuff fits together and you can repurpose it. So you're not having to create new content for social media. If you've already got it in a course, you can use pieces of that on social media. If you've already got it in a book, you can use pieces of the quote cards for social media and for emails. If you've already got this, you can replicate it for that. So you're not having to constantly chase and churn and look for new ideas. So it's in the midst of all of this. Beth, that's my wife, says, hey, I got an idea. You ought to go write down all of these processes that you're using. And now, I mean, we got a bird's eye view because we had not just what I'd done in the past with cranking out the 12 books in a year, but I had 3 different, very different, but all faith-driven organizations that were doing slightly different but related projects. And we were doing them at the same time. You need to go write all of this down. That way other people can take the book and they can get paid for what they know. Like if they don't have you and they're not going to hire the company, how do they do it? Just go write it down. So my initial response was, I don't think so. Like it's overwhelming.
It's a lot of variables for you when it comes to putting a plan together for each individual organization.
Well, where do you find the time?
Yeah.
And yeah, besides the variables, I mean, it's a lot. You start really thinking about everything you got to do to pull off a radio show.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go, well, let's put it on video. Okay, well, now let's send out an email. Okay, well, now let's sell it. Well, now let's write it into a book. Well, now let's chop that book up onto social media. Well, now, I mean, like, how do you go, oh my gosh. No, so you start going down to the rabbit hole. I remember I thought, I trust her, and most of her ideas are really good. And so I thought, I'm going to go buy a journal, and I'm just going to open it up, like just, one of those moleskin type journals. And I'm going to, on the top of each page, I'm going to write, if there's a heading or topic that people would need to know about, I'm going to write down, hey, here's one of the headings. Like, for instance, podcasting was one of the headings.
Right.
Okay, podcasting. And then, go to another page. I think I skipped 2 or 3 pages. And then what else do people need to know? They need to know how to send emails, because that's the driver. Social media is not your driver for income. It's email. As strange as that sounds. People always argue with this against that. But then you're like, oh, yeah, that's true. You walk into Target. Target doesn't want your social media handle. They want your email address. Mm-hmm. How do you pay your bills? You pay your bills with, they don't care about your social media. You pay with email. So even Facebook, you sign into social media with email. Okay, so email is the big driver. So they need to know that. What else do they need to know? They need to know, how do I coach somebody if they're going to do it? How do I put together a talk? How do I put together a website, and what even needs to be on my website? Because most people get that completely backwards of what it needs to be. I mean, almost the antithesis of what needs to go on it is what most people do. So I had all these headings. It's probably 16 or 20 different headings. And again, they wouldn't all be applicable for everybody, but most of them would. Heading: how do you do 30 days of social media in less than 3 hours and know what to say? So it's good. How do you, all that? And then I would start diving down and going, okay, let's just go back to the podcasting one. What do people need to know about podcasting? Like, what is the technology they need to know? What is the what is the thing they need to know about? Where do you get the information? Like, what are you even going to talk about? Everybody's like, oh, I want to do a podcast. What are you going to say when you do this podcast? How are you going to let people know about the podcast? Where do you even promote a podcast? What are the platforms? I mean, all of the variables. What's the purpose of the podcast? It should be leading people to a next step. Like, you're listening. I just gave you like some links down in the show notes to where you can take a next step and come in closer, and I can take you on a journey of leading you more deeper into the subject of this podcast, of getting paid for what you know. So wrote all that down, and man, it was a rabbit hole. I'm thinking this is going to be like a 200-page book. And at the time, I had a client that was notorious for canceling meetings at the last minute. Yeah, and I used to be so frustrated because I would architect the day around that meeting, like for that day. Not the whole week, just that day. And then you find out 30 minutes before, the admin assistant, hey, he can't make it today. Wah, wah. And you're like, oh man, I've just jacked up. I could have been doing something else. So here's what I started doing. If he canceled the meeting, I would almost get super excited and do a backflip, because we were meeting in a coffee shop, and right around the corner from the coffee shop, literally on the other side of the building, there was this, it was kind of a bar restaurant area that has this great patio, and this was in the fall. And so if he canceled, I mean, like, I would do like a fist pump and be excited, and I would just walk around, go to the other side, find a place on the patio, covered, nice fall breeze, open up the iPad, and just start writing from my moleskin into the Pages document and start pounding out this book. It's great. And then I had, another full day I would write each week. And then, I was blocking several mornings where I'd wake up, go to the coffee shop, write, and then shift and pivot after about 2-3 hours. I would just change location, different coffee shop, different restaurant, some other location. And so, man, I cranked out. Here's what it ballooned up to: 700 pages. Name of the book, Amplify. Just like you got a message, it's like that tree falls in the forest. Does anybody hear it? If a tree falls in the forest and nobody's there, does it make a sound? And it was kind of a nod to, hey, people have a message, something in their heart, but if you don't plug it into, I mean, like that, is that board considered an amplifier right there?
Yeah, it has an amp built into it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so because it takes what I'm saying, and it doesn't change what I'm saying. It just makes it louder. Mm-hmm. It doesn't change what I'm saying. It just makes it clearer. It makes it to where other people can access it.
That's right.
And so, really, in the same way, that's what we're trying to do. You're not trying to change people's message. You're just trying to make it to where people can access it. They can hear it. So amplify. Just like a amplifier that you plug into on a stage. Again, realizing the message is the most important component of that equation, yet, man, without an amplifier, if people are really far away, it's hard for them to hear it. And with the amplifier, it becomes clearer, it communicates, all of a sudden they can take action based on the message you already have. Amplifiers don't create anything. They just make it more accessible. 700 pages. Well, my next step, I always tell people this. How's the time going, man? Am I like rambling on and on? I'm following an outline here.
Dude, you're good.
Okay. Just checking. I always tell people, I wanted to create this into a course, but I always tell people, hey, what you really need to do when you've got a message to share is you need to start with the book. Even if you're not a writer, even if you're not going to publish it, even if it may not be for anybody except for you, start with the book. Because if you don't start with the book, you've got to come up with all of the words and ideas that you're going to say on a webpage and email and marketing when you're talking to people about what you do. But if you do put it in the book, there's something about that process that helps you organize all of your ideas.
It's an outline.
And it is an outline. And it can drive deep. And then when you get a story, you know, oh, hey, this fits over there. Or you get an illustration, oh, hey, this, you can kind of sling this stuff around. And again, if you don't do that, as intimidating as that seems, it is a lot more intimidating to stare at a blank template and try to build a web page. It's a lot more intimidating to get onto a podcast and go, oh, what in the world am I going to say? Well, if you've already got the outline, man, you just talk through the outline of what was in your book. And social media, man, what am I going to say there that's going to add value? Well, if you've already got the outline in the book and you've already got the stories, and you've already got the content, and you've already got the ideas, you've already got some bullet points, and you've got it. Like, it's all there. And so the idea was start with that book and then shoot a course. And so I was going to shoot, as I've done other courses, and just look at the camera, just me in the room, talking like mano y mano, except for the only mono on the other side is the camera guy. And I've even done it with like just a no camera guy, like just turn the camera on and just start going and then edit this stuff. Well, my friend Randy, I'm going to bring him in here and I don't know, say a couple weeks, maybe a month or so. He says, man, I'd like to sit in on that. And I thought that's great because when I taught the healing workshop, even though the first version was me and the camera, there were 4 or 5 guys that were in the room. And they gave me great feedback, and there was just more energy because they were just in the room. And so even though I'm looking at the camera, they're there. So Randy and I talk about it. I'm like, man, that'd be great. Let's invite some people over. So we ended up with like 10, 15 people in the tiny house at the hilltop. That's at my house. And we record this thing. And bang it out in, like an all-day Friday, all-day Saturday. It was great. And then we end up with the course. I'll put the link down in the show notes there for you to where you can take it. Okay, what's the point? Let's land it. Let's wrap it up and end it. This episode's really for you if you've got an idea or an expertise that you want to share and you're just not sure, how do I get it out there? Like you guys, you could teach people how to do podcasting, Or you could teach people how to do the tech side at their church. Or you could teach people, all of these other skills that people carry around that sometimes we take for granted because we forget, man, there are other people that find this skill valuable. They just don't know, but if they could know, they could get it. And the truth is, you can't find out anything that you want to know in the world on YouTube. You could go patch it and figure it, but it's so much better if somebody has a process that's written just A, B, C, D, do this, do this, do this, and you can get in contact with a real live person that walks you through it. So with all of the Amplify, how to get paid for what you know processes, most of the people that we've helped, in fact, I would even say it's all faith-driven. Not necessarily overtly Bible study, though. It's people of faith living out in the real world. So that's meant, we've helped some ministries. And I've also helped a guy working right now. One of our clients is the strength and conditioning coach for the Green Berets down at 7th Group. And he's got a discipleship ministry based on a lot of the language they use in the military. And so we're helping them. Now they get paid for what you know theirs, like they're running a nonprofit, but you got to put gas in the tank to keep that thing going. So that's really where that goes. I'll put a link down in the show notes to where you can go check out what they're doing. We also recently released a book and helped some real estate professionals. I got a friend. He was homeless, as was his wife. At the time, before they were married, they lived in a Mitsubishi Eclipse in the Target parking lot on Highway 280. Now they own a real estate brokerage. They've flipped, I think, 300 plus homes in the area. And they hire people to do real estate and work with them that can use that career and the flexibility to build a life for their family. And they infuse their faith into how they teach and train and employ people. He teaches people through some courses and other resources how to do that through even flipping houses. And then, of course, through their story, they remind people consistently that, man, you think you hit rock bottom and God can't use you? Have you been homeless and been in and out of prison and had a bunch of felonies stacked against you? If God could do it for us, He can do it with you. Oh, and by the way, we'll walk it out with you. So that we help them. We have helped a couple of pastors. Recently, my dad, and I'm talking to some other guys about this, you find some pastors that are in their 70s that have a lifetime of incredible content. And through that, they've kind of developed what their core message is. Like, what's the core idea that excites them? And they want to kind of build that into a legacy type project. And so next episode, we'll talk a little bit about how we've helped my dad take some of his ideas, build them out. That's been true with several pastors, leaders that kind of look back and go, man, I wish I would have had this technology when I was 30, 40, 50, 60. Well, I'm 70 here. Now as good a time as any. So let's just kind of get it out there. And then in a couple of weeks, we'll talk about the GY6 project. That's the post-traumatic stress, moral injury, overcome the hurts of the past, find healing, move forward into your purpose, specifically for veterans and first responders. But it, man, has so much more. All right, let's crash land it. If you are a content creator or an idea person, whether you've been doing it or you're stuck, and you just think, man, there's a message stirring inside of me, and people need to know. My prayer for you is that you would take that as a God nod, take this as your signpost that, goodness, God has probably poured the resources of heaven into you and poured His wisdom into you. Not just for you, it is for you. But may you use it and replicate it and share it with others. If we can help, reach out. Contact information below. I'll see you in the next episode.